Boy, it gets quiet in here. Good morning. We're here for our weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting. It is Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. It's 9 a.m. We're here at Senator Hearing Room at 555 Court Street Northeast. As always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you will join us, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first up is public comment, and with unanimous consent, I want to add a presentation under the agenda for Chad Ball from the board's office on the wildfire. So, Commissioner, if you'll allow that to happen,
Yep.
We'll just add that to the agenda as well. Okay, public comment. Diana Downs, if you'd like to come over here, Diana, thank you and welcome.
She warned us. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Diana Downs. I work on the second floor in the tax assessor's office, and I'm the Secretary Treasurer for Marion County Employees Association. We're here this morning because employees have expressed their concern around the county's no exceptions rule for transitioning back to the office, and the lack of procedural process that employees can take under certain circumstances. MCEA wants to be very clear. Marion County's employees don't have an issue with returning to work and to in-office operations. As most Marion County employees and departments, I'm sorry, I lost my place.
It's all right.
Marion County employees don't have an issue with returning to in-office operations, as most Marion County employees and departments were deemed essential workers during COVID-19 and continued to work either in person, some were allowed to telecommute, and had a hybrid model of in-person and telecommuting. But let's be honest, there are always exceptions and/or extraordinary circumstances when dealing with human beings in the workforce. MCEA is merely asking that the exception process be clear, be defined, be fair, and that employees know what that process is. While Oregon's vaccination rate is over 70%, Marion County is lagging behind at 50.1% yesterday. It is the Marion County Employees Association's Executive Board, that's a mouthful, responsibility to bring employee concerns forward, provide members with an avenue to express themselves, and allow them to have a voice when they feel no one is listening. MCEA tries to resolve problems at the lowest level wherever we are. However, today, we're here. Please listen openly and honestly to your employees and the personal stories that they want to share with you. These people are a part of your Marion County family. Thank you.
Thank you. Sadie Trump. Good morning, Sadie.
Good morning. I'm going to read off my phone if that's okay.
Yeah, just introduce yourself for the record, please.
All right. My name is Sadie Trump, and I've been an employee with Marion County for 3 years as a services coordinator for children with developmental disabilities. I'd like to begin by saying that I love my job. Getting to work and advocate for families in need is what I've always wanted to do. When the pandemic began and we transitioned to telecommuting, to say it was an adjustment is an understatement. With this said, we have flourished as a department during what has been one of the most difficult years of our life. We supported families during a pandemic, an ice storm, power outages, and fires that not only greatly affected them, but affected us as well. The statistics from our QA committee show that our billable encounters have stayed steady as well as improved over the last year while telecommuting. This shows that it is possible to continue telecommuting and providing our services. From a personal perspective, I have 2 toddler sons that I've been able to keep safe and healthy by being able to telecommute. Their daycare providers' hours have reduced, and there have been many closures over the past year. Typically, I would have needed to take time off to care for them, but working from home has made it possible for me to balance my work and personal life. I have a diagnosis of anxiety as well, and it has only increased since the beginning of the pandemic, especially when forced to go into the office and be exposed. I care for my immunocompromised mother as well, and being able to stay home has been given me the peace of mind to do so. Given the option to telecommute full-time or even part-time is a request I hope you truly consider. With that said, I'd like to read another testimony from a fellow employee who was unable to be here due to a family obligation. All right. I wanted to share some thoughts I have about the decision to end Marion County's telecommute policy effective July 19th. This is from Jasmine Dexter, who is a services coordinator with Marion County DD Services as well. I've been with Marion County for 7 years, and in my time, the conversations about working remotely has always been one that has been looked down upon. It wasn't until the pandemic and the state of emergency that ignited the need to work remotely. As you may imagine, the ability to work remotely has been helpful for many. While I come into the office every day of the week, I've utilized telecommuting on occasion in order to assure I could complete tasks at home. I'm a single mother of 2 children, one of which has a physical disability and requires significant support. She also has several appointments. Luckily, I am able to get support from family and friends. However, there are times when I need to be home. Working remotely has allowed for me to work still and meet other needs that have been impacted by the pandemic. This includes daycare, school, etc. If I was unable to have this option, I would likely use vacation or sick leave to cover. As a long-term employee, I would rather work and be productive. I recognize that our Board of Commissioners may be concerned about productivity, but cutting the option off cold turkey is not the answer. There are many other avenues that could be exposed to ease back into work life, normal life, even if it meant being offered just one remote day a week or something that assures productivity occurs while remote. The options are endless. While I mentioned I typically come into the office every day, there are many days that I have found working remotely has been necessary to survive. I worry about my colleagues who are fearful of losing their employment because they won't have daycare or other needs covered in time for July 19th cutoff. I am eager to provide more insight, thoughts, ideas regarding the possibility to make the change. Please let me know how I can contribute. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Patty Brown. Welcome, Patty.
Good morning. Good morning, Marion County Commissioners and everybody present. My name is Patty Brown, and I work for Marion County IDD Services with folks with developmental disabilities. I'm a case manager with the adult team, and I've been an employee for 5 years. I'm here today to ask you to reconsider your stance on no remote work. First of all, when the notice came out, I'm having a hard time understanding the inflexibility of the return to work policy after employees have been flexible and responsible, adapting to the new environments presented to us over the last 18 months. It felt like an insult. When COVID hit, we went to remote work with no notice, and we had to reinvent how to serve the public. We had to adapt our work processes with very little support or direction. We had frequent, almost daily changes to how we worked with orders from ODDS in the state. And we responded to these crises, not just COVID, but the ones that came after, that were outside the normal scope of operations to ensure that the people that we work for were safe and accounted for. We found new ways to be productive and thrive with what we were given. We continued with the same sense of responsibility through each crisis. And then now at the end of this all, in a lot of ways, actions speak much louder than gestures and words to tell us how you regard your employees. From my own experience, I was very appreciative that remote work came exactly at the time that I needed to be most cautious. COVID hit and we went to remote work just as my cancer treatment was ending. I am grateful I could work remotely when my immune system was at its weakest. Over the last year, I've been fortunate to be in control of limiting my exposure to COVID and other pathogens that usually pass through the office. We still don't know how this thing of COVID will go. There's variants. We don't know how long the vaccines will last. There's breakthrough cases. There's just still a lot we don't know. And it's scary. And we're coming up on cold and flu season. And I don't know about you, but my experience with those have been that I felt just kind of off for a few days, and then you get confirmation, oh crud, I'm sick. Or I feel better, and by that time you've already exposed people for 2 days to your sickness, and then it runs through the office. And it's hard to justify taking a whole day off if you're just feeling iffy. I'm also involved in taking care of my aging parents, all 4 of them. I have 3 brothers, but usually the caretaking falls on me disproportionately. Just recently, my mom has been going through medical treatments, and just in the last few weeks, I've been able to be present in case of emergencies, but have not lost any productivity or progress on my regular tasks. I was able to be there, make sure she didn't fall down, make sure she didn't get a fever, and it was one trip to the urgent care that took an hour. If I had been at work, it would have taken 3. And then last year, I had to take all of my leave balances to 0, and it's taken a long time to build them back up. And I've been fearful of getting sick, even with a cold, because of my lack of leave, and also my family caretaking. And then we are currently making efforts to evaluate and adapt our processes and our outlook to be more inclusive and ensure equity for our communities. Yet the structure of our agency retains the values of the past. Times have changed. We now have the technology to work and be successful in various locations, not just in the office. Times have also changed. We spend a lot of time at work, but we also have life responsibilities. This policy affects everyone, but disproportionately affects women, since family and extended family caregiving still falls on women more often. Also, as a taxpayer, I'm puzzled by the county's priorities. We keep hearing about the lack of space in the health department offices, in the offices we have, and then the plans to build a new building to accommodate everyone being in the office. It seems that allowing folks to work remotely, even occasionally or part of the time, would alleviate some of the pressure on our infrastructure and give us more resources for the people that we serve. I know money buckets don't work that way, but it's a nice thought. And I just wanted to say, I enjoy going to the office. I enjoy camaraderie with my coworkers, but in the work-life balance, this last year has shown how it can work both ways, and it's rather amazing. So it just takes some pressure off of that. And then just employees are not given the same consideration as our public in so many ways. As a public employee and a case manager, I advocate for individuals we serve to consider what works best for them and continue with this work-centered ideal. And thank you for your consideration in helping us meet our personal needs as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Appreciate it. Toby Green? Welcome, Toby.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Toby Green. I am a organizer assigned to the Marion County Employee Association on behalf of SEIU 503. Some of the testimony you've heard this morning when this back to work policy July 19th came out, I have literally 75 to 100 of these type of stories that have been sent to me. Just to give you a little bit of background on our process, what Diana said in her testimony is how we're trying to do things in the Marion County Employee Association in terms of working with folks. You've got a very good management team here. We try to resolve things at the lowest, most immediate level. In this situation, we advised workers who came to us with these concerns to go talk to their supervisor. Inevitably, their supervisor would refer them to a benefits person, give an email that would talk about hope, and we're hoping things will open up, whether it's childcare, immunocompromised. There was a lot of hope going on. So in the spirit of hope, I wanted to hope that we can kind of forge a new relationship. And what I mean by that is that The Marion County Employee Association has, from what I understand, little involvement with you folks as commissioners or even a dialogue. What this does is it creates, I'm sure you folks follow a data-driven process. It means that you're not hearing from the Marion County Employee Association on some of these matters, and we take some accountability for that. So I want to be upfront on that piece. What we're hoping to do is supply you with this data, make the decisions as you see fit. And the information that they're bringing forward is data pieces that might not show up in a manager report or in a policy recommendation. Beyond that, or to that end, I should say, July 29th, we have union membership meetings. July 29th is our next one. I want to invite you folks, if you're interested, to join. It's a Zoom call, which I know we all love Zoom calls, but wanted to really open up the olive branch and invite you folks on, if you're interested, or anybody of your staff, to come and attend. And we're going to still be probably talking about some of these issues, but because, like I said before, we've got quite a few folks who would have been here today. There's the issue that was brought up in other folks' testimony about the COVID variant rates was a depressor, but there's also the issue of people are working. Your employees right now are doing their job. So want to hold that space and time. For the record, my email is greent. I have the best email ever, greent@seau503.org. Don't be a stranger. We would love to have that chat. We'll be friendly and just share information. But July 29th at 5:30 p.m., I'll put that offer out there. Thank you for your time.
Toby, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody coming forward today and using this opportunity to communicate your concerns. I will say this. I respect. And I think all three of us have been around thanking all the employees in Marion County in the last, couple of weeks with the lunches and the keychains and everything that we've been doing to say thank you for the tremendous effort that people put forth as we all went through this together. The COVID-19, the fire, as a evacuate from the fire. I understand how life gets upside down sometimes, and then the ice storm, the heat wave, all those things that we've been dealing with. So we just really appreciate the opportunity to say thank you to every 1,700 employees that work for the citizens of Marion County, and we're really appreciative of that. So. If you want to make any comments, otherwise we'll go on with our business. Commissioner, yes.
And I know we don't usually respond to public comments, so I just want to make sort of a broader comment about the decision-making behind going back to full-time in-person work for all of our employees. Our decision-making when it came to our employees was, during COVID, has been always driven by the data, by the CDC, by OHA recommendations about keeping people safe and keeping our work going. So I just want to make sure that it's clear that that's what's driven our decision making. So when COVID happened, we changed our policies to make sure our people could be safe. And once we reached herd immunity, we rescinded those temporary policies. So this isn't so, the decisions that we've made recently aren't so much policy changes as they are just following the curve of the pandemic and the threat to our employees. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, that there hasn't been any substantive changes. We've just been following the data and making sure that our employees have been safe, and that's really been driving our decision making. So.
Would it be inappropriate to ask a question in response?
Yes, yeah.
But you can send me if you have a question, you can send me an email.
Any comments?
No, I'm
Good,
ready to
great.
go.
All right. Thank you. So we will, I ask for unanimous consent, Commissioner, to add Chad Ball to the agenda for a presentation on the fire, just an update for the public.
We're letting him talk, is that?
Yes,
Okay.
where is he? He's here someplace.
Back there.
Oh, he's hidden back there. So Chad, you want to come up and give a presentation update on the fire?
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Chad Ball, Board's Office. So just a very brief overview of the fire so far and what we know. The fire is called the Brewer Fire, B-R-U-L-E-R, and currently it's on U.S. Forest Service land. in the Courtsville Recreation Corridor in Lynn County. It's about 8.6 miles from the city of Detroit. There's about a 90 acres currently that's burning. They have been able to build a perimeter around it. They've been able to use bulldozers, and they've done some back burning as well. So there's a perimeter around that 90 acres. The area is a lot more accessible than the fires last year, so they've been able to get more teams in there. There is a Type 2 incident management firefighting team that just arrived last night. That's going to be taking over incident command today. And they'll be working on that, and it's Team 13, and they were here last year as well, working on a lot of the fires, so they have knowledge of the area, which is always helpful. There's air support is on the scene as well. What we're doing on our end, County Emergency Management, is in the pre-planning stages for if the fire does shift and it comes into Marion County. Where I said right now it's on U.S. Forest Service land and in Lynn County, but we are preparing if that happens. We'll be posting on our social media any new information that we receive. And then we know that later today there's going to be a dedicated social media site that's going to be created by the U.S. Forest Service for more information. So again, we will post that once we get that link as well. One of the best ways to stay informed on fires in your area, and if you have to evacuate, would be signing up for the Everbridge system. You can just search Everbridge, Marion County, Oregon, sign up for that, and then if there is any new information for your area, you'll get a text blasted to you through that way. So those are the updates that I have right now.
Good. Chad and I went down for an in-person update last night in Sweet Home at the Ranger Station. My additional comments is that the Type 2 team, I talked to the gentleman he was from North Washington, someone from Idaho. They come around from all different places. The Type 1 team is kind of a low-level team. Type 2 is a medium, and then Type 3 is for the biggest fire. And his comment was, a lot of times the Type 2 teams are going to a Type 3 fire because they just don't have enough resources anymore, teams. So that was an interesting comment. And then the other gentleman who was in charge of air support basically was saying, yeah, they had a couple of helicopters. I don't understand the difference in types, but one of them had to get peeled off. They lost it yesterday. It sounds like they could use more resources. They just don't have them. But as Chad said, they're doing things to build a perimeter around this fire. And as we know, as long as the winds are down, that's what they said. The winds are blowing. I think towards the southeast, if I remember right, what they said, it was about a 7-mile-an-hour wind at the time. As long as the winds are down, we've got low temperatures hitting tomorrow and Friday. They said that will help the fire. But as we know, everybody, including myself, that went through last year's fire is really, really anxious. And so what I did stress with the public information officer with Stephanie that we met down there was the more information you can give out, the better, because if there's not information, there's a vacuum and people start to, like Sergeant Wilkinson said yesterday, somebody brought up, the fire was at 140 acres or whatever it was. And so all these rumors start to come up. So I asked Chad to be here, and we will do the best we can to get the information out as we get it. That I don't think they give information out as fast as we would like it.
Right.
I know that there's an update today at 10 a.m. I'm sure Chad will be listening to that. That's a Zoom meeting. We can participate. We've got the link for that. So we'll keep people posted.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
All right. Our first item of business is a proclamation. Consider approval of a proclamation designating the week of July 18th through the 24th, 2021 as National Parole and Probation Officers Week in Marion County. And we have the commander and the juvenile director with us today, whose work is right around this area. Welcome. Who's going to go first?
I'll speak first, but Guardi will be speaking next. Troy Gregg, Juvenile Director for Marion County.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Kevin Carbondi, Sheriff's Office, Community Corrections Division.
Troy, it's good to see you in a tie today.
Thanks. I didn't wear the jacket, so now I'm really subconscious. Thanks for bringing it up. So
Don't be.
Last week Joe didn't have a tie on, and he got called up here, so it's fine.
It happens. Thanks.
Yeah.
I think Joe left the room,
He
so we
did.
can't call him this time.
But he has a tie on
Good luck,
today, I
Lindsay.
noticed.
All right, I'll kick this off. So next week marks National Parole and Probation Officer Week that was created to recognize the achievements and the hard work of all of our community corrections staff and the positive impacts they're having on our community. And today I'd like to bring a little of old school back and following in the footsteps of our previous division commander and current Under Sheriff Jeff Wood, I'd like to share a little history of the origin of probation and that he would typically share in events like this. Since 1841, the practice of probation and parole has played a vital role in the criminal justice system, initiated by a prominent Bostonian named John Augustus, who was recognized as the father of probation and the first true probation officer. He agreed to monitor a person on behalf of the police court for the charge of being a common drunk. He considered factors such as a person's character, age, people, places, and things apt to influence him prior to accepting the volunteer assignment. A short time later, the probationer, along with Mr. Augustus, returned to court a sober man, much to the astonishment of all in attendance, noting his appearance and demeanor had completely changed. And now fast forwarding 180 years, although many things have changed, we continue to utilize many of these criminogenic risk principles and benchmark outcomes today. Nationally, we have over 4 million on some form of formal community supervision. In Oregon, just about 25,000, and in Marion County alone, close to 3,000 on supervision with our office. Over the years, our division has embraced evidence-based practices as key guiding philosophy to deliver supervision services to our client populations with an eye towards lowering recidivism rates, collaboratively working with our community, and enhancing public safety. And just to highlight a few examples, we've implemented the effective practices in community supervision, model of supervision, core correctional practices as our base model, and interaction, whether in the field or in the transition center. Our Drug and Endangered Children Unit works tirelessly with partner agencies to keep families reunited and to work towards family reunification. We've implemented a successful flagship justice reinvestment program, such as our Senate Bill 416 prison reentry program or diversion program, and our SOAR Student Opportunity for Achieving Results reentry program, which have very successful results. And since the implementation of evidence-based practices, Marion County has seen an overall downward trend in recidivism over the last 15 plus years, which translates into lives being restored in a stronger community. And at the end of the day, we are in the people helping business. The role of our POs play a critical role in helping change lives and making significant contributions in improving the outcomes of our clients. And in closing, I know I'm doing a little bit of rambling, I would like also to highlight one last observation that stands out the most. This last year, hands down, has been, will definitely go in the record books as the most challenging year, just dealing with all the issues associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I know this list I'm going to wrap out here is not the encompassing list, but just the things that stand out. Our public safety building, the lobby, that is one of the busiest lobbies in our not just our sworn staff, but our civilian staff, and the different operational adjustments they've had to make over the last 12 plus months in terms of temperature checks, making sure people are wearing masks, making sure there's social distancing. They've worked tirelessly. The State Department of Corrections commutation releases ordered by the governor of our state, finding on just short notice some of the just finding appropriate housing in a limited time frame. The high level of collaboration between the Sheriff's Office, Health and Human Services, State Department of Corrections, in quarantining all of our State Department of Corrections inmate releases at the hotel sheltering program, which we were very, very fortunate to have that resource to ensure our clients had a roof over their head, but more importantly that they were safely monitored as well. The challenges associated with telecommuting and just, we had a couple teams, Team A and Team B. Some of those folks hadn't seen each other in over a year, and it's just, and at the same time, maintaining contact standards. Maybe they look a little bit different, but nonetheless maintain and effectively managing their caseloads. And when you look at the cumulative work of our entire team has done this last year, it really highlights how important, how fortunate we are to have them and how resilient they are, and I couldn't be more proud of them. So this next week is a time to recognize and honor the important work of our community corrections professionals and thanking them for their service and commitment to Marion County.
Thank you, Commander.
Thanks, and this is one of those things where a lot of times Parole and Probation Officer Week ends up being a focus nationally on the adult work that we do, but the juvenile work that we do is equally as important, if not more so in some senses, and I'll just touch on that. But the one thing I want to say is I appreciate the sheriff's office and the amazing partnership that we have in working together and supporting each other. I know there's been multiple times where we've had conversations about, hey, what's going on? What are you doing with this? How are we keeping people safe? And how are we doing our jobs? And so, I've talked several different points over the last year or so about the challenges that COVID created within the probation staff with the juvenile department, because I will always make the argument that we know more than anything else, it's the contact that we have with the youth that we work with and the contact with families that ultimately makes the difference overall. And if the work that the juvenile department does with the probation staff, detention, GAP, AP, if we're not doing our job well, then the sheriff's office gets to meet those young adults as they grow older. And so the importance of what we do and the creativity, the flexibility, the willingness to go out. The funny thing is, as we talk about people coming back into the office, a majority of the juvenile department, 70% plus, has been there every day working with kids that have walked through the door. And not to belittle anything else along that line, but my probation staff are like, when can we get back in the office? When can we start seeing kids and parents again face to face? And just the opportunity that is now presented for us to be able to do that gets us back into the groove of things, and we're excited about that. But again, I want to thank you guys for this opportunity for us to put forth this proclamation. Again, thank the sheriff's office work that they do, but want to just give a ton of credit, as I always love to do, for the hard work, the dedication that our staff do on a day-by-day basis. And they do it because they love their jobs, because they love working with kids and want to make a difference in the lives that we work with. So thank you for considering the proclamation. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to go with a yay for everybody. But and again, you're welcome to join us as we're celebrating next Wednesday at the juvenile department, and I think the sheriff is on Thursday.
Yes, in the back of the public safety building next Thursday at 11:30. So more
Put
than
on
welcome.
my calendar for the same day. I'll have to get that fixed, which
What?
I'm
Yeah.
grateful that they're not the same day, if that's the case.
Yep.
I have them literally back to back on Thursday.
Do you? Okay, I'll check and make
What-
sure.
What time is yours? When's yours?
11 to 1 is my understanding.
Yeah, 11 to 1 on Thursday.
Okay.
And that's what I have, and then yours is 11:30 to 1:30, I think, or 12:30. I have yours counted.
Yep, 11:30 to 1.
I may be wrong. I'm going on vacation next week, so I
We're
thought
gonna
it was
meet them.
Wednesday.
We'll be
versus
there.
Thursday.
We're gonna somehow get to both of them if
Yeah.
they're there. We'll split it.
Well, I mean,
Appreciate
it's
it.
good food,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Hey, it's a meal. And Sam's not here anymore, so there's more for me.
That's right, because
Because they always ran out before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were always short.
All right.
gosh.
Thank you, gentlemen. We will,
Mr. Chair, if I could,
Yeah.
I'd just like to make a few comments.
Yep.
I don't think that I realized before I was a commissioner how much of our public safety work is dependent on parole and probation officers, both juvenile and adult. Like how much our jail relies on the work that you do, how much, like we've moved into this pretrial monitoring thing. I mean, we really lean heavily on our parole and probation officers for public safety, things that I think your average person thinks of as, you arrest the person, you put them in behind bars, and those are the folks that are doing the work. But a lot of that work is actually done by parole and probation officers. And so I want to recognize that, because I didn't know that before I became a commissioner. And I also want to say, talking to your folks, the juvenile department, the hope that they have for the kids that they serve. I mean, it was very clear to me. I had a conversation the other day with several folks, and I asked them, like, why do you do it? Like, what keeps you coming to work? And it was very clear that it was like, because every once in a while someone comes back who got in trouble as a teenager, and they have a beautiful family, and they have a great career, and they're happy, and like all the misery that they were suffering at that time is like forgotten, washed away, and it's those stories that like keep us coming back and keep us doing this hard work. And so I just want to recognize them for that, because it's pretty cool to have a group of people that are really hoping for the kids in your community that are getting in trouble and are doing things they shouldn't be doing. To have a team that's cheering for those people and really changing lives is pretty amazing. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
yeah, I will say this, done ride-alongs with juvenile, done ride-alongs with our adult, in fact, the sexual, what's that team?
Sex offender unit.
Sex offender unit. Oh my gosh. That was just eye-opening what those individuals go through and what they do to keep people safe and to help people that need the services that we provide. So thank you both for allowing us to do that, to do those ride-alongs. It's real important that we get to see what your people are really facing. So when we make decisions, we understand them. So thank you. Looking forward to the barbecue and honoring them. So we will take a motion to approve the proclamation, and then we'll read it.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve a proclamation designating the week of July 18th through 24th, 2021 as National Parole and Probation Officers Week in Marion County.
And I'll second the motion.
Yeah, motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Commissioner, you want to start us off?
In the matter of proclaiming the week of July 18th through 24, 2021 as Parole and Probation Officers Week in Marion County. Whereas the Marion County Sheriff's Office Parole and Probation Officers and the Marion County Juvenile Department Probation Officers are an essential part of the Marion County criminal justice system. And whereas the Parole and Probation Officers of Marion County play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of Marion County. And whereas the Parole and Probation Officers of Marion County recognize their duties to serve the people of Marion County by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, by supervision and monitoring the activities of adult and juvenile offenders living in Marion County. And
Whereas the Parole and Probation Officers of Marion County are trained professionals who provide services and referrals for offenders. And whereas the Parole and Probation Officers of Marion County work in partnership with community agencies and groups. And whereas the Parole and Probation Officers of Marion County promote prevention, intervention, and advocacy. And whereas the Parole and Probation Officers of Marion County provide services, support, and protection for victims. And
whereas the Parole and Probation Officers of Marion County embrace evidence-based practices, utilize effective practices and community supervision model, and are a true factor for positive change. And whereas it is important that all Marion County citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their parole and probation officers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Commissioners of Marion County, do hereby proclaim July 18th through the 24th, 2021 as Parole and Probation Officer Week, and encourage all citizens to honor the parole and probation officers of Marion County and to recognize their achievements. In witness thereof, we have hereto set our hand and caused the seal of Marion County to be affixed. Marion County Board of Commissioners, this date.
we already signed them.
Yeah. We got proclamation here.
Thank you.
I think one goes back to Brenda, and you can share one. Thank you.
I just want to point out, Troy, that I'm also not wearing a jacket.
Yeah. And if it makes
I mean, you
you,
could.
if it makes you feel better, Troy, I'll take mine off for you. I mean, yes.
now you're just pandering.
It's the only day this week that
I don't
I'm
think
wearing
so.
a tie.
I think you're creating humanness of all of us. That's a good job.
All right. Commissioner Willis, I think it's your turn to move the consent calendar.
Oh, it is.
Well, I mean, you go on, come back from vacation, look how hard this is.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you giving me the hard jobs. Mr. Chair, I move the consent agenda. In it is to receive a hearings officer decision approving conditional use case number 21-004, youth with a mission.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just want to say that I've been out to YWAM before, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, they do really good work.
They do,
I'm grateful
and
for
I went through all of the changes. I'm a little bit overwhelmed, frankly, by the growth that they're looking to expand into, but I look forward to seeing what it looks like and the amount of individuals in our community that they can serve with the opportunity.
One of the things they did this last year, which I got to be a part of and I'm really impressed with, was they did a ropes course bringing together law enforcement and communities of color to just have a conversation in a time where tensions were really, really high. And the feedback from some of the young kids, African-American, Latino kids, was just profound. I mean, really, really impressive. And it was done in just such a gentle way and really brought the community together. So I'm really grateful. I think of them like a lot of these other kind of bedrocks of our community that do really good work and have kind of kept us together during a hard year.
Is Sam still the director out there?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I think
Sorry.
it is.
No
yeah,
idea.
he's good. He's always looking for ways to be involved in the community and get his people to serve. But have you done the ropes course there?
No.
Have you?
It's really fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah. When
I'll
I
do
went
it,
through
though.
Leadership Salem, the chamber,
Yeah.
that's the first day they take you out there and do that ropes course. Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it after I
Good
go
team
climb the
building.
dam.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get all my exercise in one week.
Just, you might be in bed for the next week.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, so we have a second, and any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. We'll move on to our first action item, to consider approval of an ordinance establishing county survey and plat standards. Kent, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kent Inman, Marion County Surveyor. I'm coming to you today for your consideration and approval of a proposed ordinance for survey and plat standards. If the board chooses, this will be the second reading of the proposed ordinance, after which the board can choose to adopt the ordinance. The first reading of this proposed ordinance was conducted on June 23rd, 2021. I'm here to answer any questions the board may have.
I appreciate the excitement that I see coming off of you for being here for this.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out.
I'm trying to be more relaxed.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job. I think people don't, again, I said this last month, I didn't even know what a plat was when I got here, and I resisted signing one. And then we had a meeting with you about this topic, and that's when I learned that folks who bring in plans don't really have kind of a standard of how to deliver them, and that they come on index cards in the back of random coffee stained papers and whatever it may be. And so I appreciate organization and structure. So I think this will really help you and your team going forward. But I also think it'll help the community. I think we all look for access to what's expected, and this will lay this out for the community and help them be successful and potentially move them through the process faster.
I also want to thank you for all the work you're doing up in the canyon, helping people get their land sorted out
my
up there.
gosh, yeah.
That's been a pretty heavy lift for your office, I know, so
Thank you.
thanks for doing that. Okay.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve an ordinance establishing county survey and plat standards.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, Commissioners. First, since this is a second reading of the ordinance, and
Yep.
this ordinance is being adopted by regular procedure, first, the.
Motion to read the
board would-
ordinance.
Correct. The board would move.
Sorry.
And vote to have the chair read the ordinance by title only once. Then after vote on that, then after the chair reads by title only once, then the board can move
Adopt
to
it.
adopt.
Good job. Way to
Okay.
keep us legal around here.
I forgot to mention that to you. So there's
Well,
two motions
you'd
to get
think
this.
there'd be like a cheat sheet for these things
Well-
as they come up. No, it's not your fault. Eventually, after like 20 years, I'll have it figured out.
Probably used to.
Mr. Chair, I request that you read the order.
The motion would be that the
Ask the chair to
chair read the ordinance by title only once.
This is one of those weird ones
How
where
about you just do it?
this is one of those reasons where if we vote to make him read the title by once and he refuses, does he have to read it? Like,
You
it's like,
make the motion,
It's like if the
I'll
tree
second
falls
it.
in the woods. Okay, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, I move that the chair read the proposed ordinance by title once.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to have the chair read the title once by ordinance, read the ordinance by title once. Any further discussion? You guys want to make any more comments about me?
It's not really not you.
Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I take full
All right,
responsibility.
the chair will read the ordinance by title only once. An ordinance establishing survey and plat standards. The chair will now take a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve an ordinance establishing county survey and plat standards.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to now approve the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. Commissioner, you appreciate formality and organization, so you just,
I just wrote down
demonstrate.
that someone's gonna make me cheat sheets for these things. I'm looking at Jessica. You can laminate them.
All right. Okay, so
Thank you.
that is done. Thanks, Kent.
Thank you.
And that'll be a really good thing for future development and standards that we needed.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, next up is to receive and consider an appeal of the hearings officer's decision denying conditional use CU case number 20-044 Seasons at Red Oak Farm LLC. Lindsay, welcome.
Good morning. All right. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, this is Lindsay King, Marion County Planning. The item before you today is an appeal of a hearings officer decision denying the application for a conditional use permit to operate a commercial use in conjunction with farm use on a 74.5 acre parcel in the exclusive farm use zone. The applicants asked to establish an educational farm experience program for youth and families as a commercial activity in conjunction with farm use in the existing structures with a proposal for a new structure. The applicants are proposing that the experience be aimed at families and children with collaborations with local social and agricultural organizations, businesses, including schools, Future Farmers of America, 4-H, and Fusion Marketing. The proposal will include educational and recreational activities that highlight farm uses, including U-Pick activities, harvest and holiday-themed activities, retail sales of local farm products, plant identification, and wildlife viewing. On February 1st of 2021, the planning director denied the request because the applicant did not meet the approval criteria for the commercial use in conjunction with farming. The applicant submitted additional documents for a reconsideration, and after review, staff could not conclude that the applicants met the criteria for the commercial use in conjunction with farming, and the reconsideration was denied. That decision was appealed to the hearings officer on April 29th of this year, and the hearings officer conducted a public hearing on June 10th, and then the hearings officer issued a decision denying the request. That decision was appealed to the Board of Commissioners on June 25th of this year. In the executive summary on the first page of the decision, the hearings officer concluded that the applicants have not satisfied all relevant approval criteria, specifically that the use complies with MCC 17.136.060D1, which requires that commercial activities in conjunction with farm use be primarily a customer or supplier of farm uses. As the proposed commercial activity is primarily both in its focus and revenue generation, an educational program for families and children, rather than for customer or suppliers of local farm uses, all criteria are not met. This criteria is discussed on the beginning of page 7 of that decision. The hearings officer considered all the arguments and testimony provided by the applicant and determined that the criterion was not satisfied. In the appeal, the applicants list 3 items that are the grounds for the appeal. Number 1, the decisions of the county hearings officer and planning staff are contrary to the county's rules governing commercial activity in conjunction with farm use and are inconsistent with the purpose of EFU zoning. Number 2, the hearings officer findings are inadequate and not supported by the record because the hearings officer does not articulate a meaningful standard for EFU commercial activities, nor explain adequately why applicant does not meet the hearings officer's standard. 3, the county has violated applicants and the Joneses' due process right by denying the Joneses' desire to use their property for reasons that are not rationally related to a legitimate government purpose. The appeal then argues that the board has the authority to interpret the county's commercial activity rules to allow the applicant's program, that the hearings officer interpretation of the commercial activity rules is contrary to the text of the county code and is internally inconsistent, and that the staff and hearings officer decisions are inconsistent with the purpose of the EFU standards and are poor public policy. There are 3 options for the board's consideration. First is accept the appeal and remand the matter back to the hearings officer, requiring an agreement from the applicant to extend the 150-day decision-making deadline. 2, accept the appeal and schedule a public hearing. 3, deny the appeal and uphold the hearings officer decision denying the request. In the appeal, the applicant is making essentially the same arguments that were considered by the hearings officer. Therefore, staff recommends that the appeal be denied and the decision be upheld by, the decision by the hearings officer be upheld. I'll be happy to answer any questions for you. And I apologize, that was very long-winded.
No, it's fine. Questions?
Well, I have so many, but I don't think it's appropriate for this setting.
I have some questions. I think
Go ahead.
actually I'd like to ask. So, I called Joe before the meeting and asked this question, Lindsay, and I'd sort of like you to discuss a little bit. One of the neat places in Marion County is Bauman's Farms, right? And you can go there and there's activities for kids and it's really fun, right? So could you distinguish what they're planning to do from what Bauman does?
So the proposal here for the Joneses and Red Oak Farms is essentially, from my understanding, from the interpretation of their application, is an educational experience. So to more or less like a farm school, have people come in, teach the children and families about the farm uses, have more family-oriented activities rather than being a supplier or a customer of the farm uses. Now, the farm that you're specifically speaking of has an approved land use case for a farm stand, which can encompass everything that they're doing, but they're on a very limited scale. So they have their fall activities, their spring activities, their summer activities. It's not an all year round type business. And their primary focus for Bauman Farms is their farming. So this farm stand would be secondary in nature to the primary use of farm.
Do they have what do they call it? A conditional use, Bauman, to do their farm stand?
I believe it's an administrative review for the farm stand.
So how does that work?
So it was done, I believe, in, I wish I had it on me. It was done in the 2000s at some point. I want to say 2015, but I probably am wrong. So their administrative review goes through our specific farm use standards, which I unfortunately don't have those in front of me, to make sure that what they're proposing meet those specific criteria, and then those would be the conditions of approval for their administrative review. It basically just makes sure that their proposal meets our criteria set forth in the code and they're upheld to those standards.
Because they have like a pretty big operation. Like when you say it's limited, if you've ever been there,
No,
it sure
right,
doesn't seem
limited
limited
in the
when
sense that it's not a continual all day, every day, all year round type activity. You know, they have to have parking standards or, building standards. They have to get the appropriate commercial building permits, things like that. I would have to read through the specific file to specifically know what criteria they have, but they do have an administrative review for their farm stand.
the reason I bring it up is because it feels to me like there's this sort of, I don't know, spectrum maybe, right? Between like farming and commercial activity, especially when you're talking about farming related commercial activity, right? Like bringing kids to go to the pumpkin patch or having people come to the tulip farm or something, right? Where you're really inviting the public in and you want the public to come and you want them to participate in what you're doing, right? Whereas if you're doing more serious, if your focus is more serious commercial farming, you really don't want hundreds or thousands of people in your space as you're spraying or you're, right? Like that's not, the farmers I know don't invite thousands of people in when they're working their fields. So I think the thing I like about what they're proposing is that they want more kids to be involved in farming. They want to help kids learn agriculture, and that seems like a very positive thing. And it seems to me, again, from sort of stepping back from the details, that somebody could operate a farm and have kids come in and participate in that. And it seems like that should be allowed under EFU. And my question, I guess, is could our staff work with these folks and help them navigate that so that it's less of sort of an adversarial thing and more of a, we realize there's a spectrum here. This is EFU land, so you can't just do a school or something that has nothing related to farming. On the other hand, you can probably do farming and invite the public in some capacity. How would that process work? If that's the direction that the board wanted to give, what would that look like?
Staff would recommend a farm stand. It's an allowable use in the EFU zone, and it can encompass a majority of what the applicants would like to do. And it has been recommended by staff to them. I'm not entirely sure the reasoning behind them not wanting to go through with it, but we have recommended, and that would be the most appropriate and fitting course of action that we can think of.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, I mean, I don't really understand, so I'm glad you brought up Bauman Farms, because I reached out to Joe as well on that. And I guess I just have concerns around us trying to squeeze a concept into our box, or whatever, whoever generalizes this rule as far as what a farm stand is. So I'm just gonna state that providing an education over trying to make a profit, to me, there's a weight there that I take more seriously, and I do think that agriculture is something that we've lost, or we're going to lose the art of if we don't engage youth in a certain way. And so I'd like to learn more, possibly from you, on, you know, what a farm stand is specific to that makes this allowable to where their ask is not allowable. And if there's an opportunity to create some new healthy options for land use in a way that isn't harming to the farm ground. You know, I don't see this as a hindrance to agriculture land. I think there's an opportunity. So, but I have a lot of learning to do on it, so I guess we'll be spending some time together overall. But I think it's very innovative, this option that they're trying to bring forward.
So, the options in front of us are to, you can look at the three options here. One is to accept the appeal and reprimand it back, requiring an agreement from the applicant to extend it back to the hearings officer and have the applicant extend a 150-day decision-making deadline. Accept the appeal, schedule a public hearing for July 28th, which is 2 weeks away. I don't know if that applicant,
I don't think.
if they can come in and share. I did see in the applicant's letter, some things that, maybe there's an opportunity. I really want to hear this, because
Me too.
I do, and maybe staff can tell us how, between now and the 28th, what they could do to maybe change something that would help them get to where they need to get. I did see that we had no opposition from local farmers.
Only support. There was a couple
Right.
letters of support.
Right.
Well,
And I know that there's been this, I'm trying to think with the farmer, the lady that owns the farm that has been doing this farm to school work. I know Representative Clem has passed a lot of local, food bills to get youth to understand this stuff. So it'd be interesting to hear what they're really trying to accomplish and how we can help them get there.
Great.
What's the best path?
Well, then I'd like to make a motion to accept the appeal and schedule a public hearing for the suggested hearing date of July 28th.
Is that the best path? Okay, good.
I will second that. I would like some further discussion though, and a question.
Further discussion, go ahead. We have a motion and a second, further discussion.
So, Lindsay, one thing that I'm sort of become aware of in this world, and I sort of want, and this might be something that we have to have a long conversation afterwards, is that some of the decisions that we make in some of our county ordinances are not done in a vacuum. They're done in the context of our statewide land use planning goals. And so I think one of the things that I would like to hear is, their argument is we have the authority to sort of say, yes, they can do this. is that actually true? Or if we approve this, is LCDC or some other folks in the community going to say this violates state land use planning? Is this a local decision, or is this something a decision that we're making in the context of law that's outside of our controls? Do you have input on that? And it doesn't have to be right now. You can come back and give us that answer in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, I would defer to legal on that one.
I've looked through the appeal and some of its arguments. Part of what they're arguing is that the county's existing code, basically, state law has changed since the county's code was adopted. They're making the argument. And such that the county's code may be more restrictive than what state law requires. I don't know if that is in fact the case, sitting here right now. But assuming that is correct, the code in existence now is the code that is in place, and the county can have code which is more restrictive than state law requires. The fact that it is more restrictive doesn't make the county's code illegal as
Yeah,
such.
no, I understand that, yeah.
And so, could the county change its code with regard to this particular application? Not necessarily, because the law that's in place at the time of the application is submitted and final is the law that applies. But
So Scott, what I just heard you say is that are you supporting that our code is more restrictive than the state? Is that what you're saying?
no, not necessarily.
Okay, but if it is.
Yeah, assuming that it might be, it is still the code that applies to this application, and then the board could,
Make an exception.
No, we can't,
No.
but we can interpret it.
You
The
can
important thing is
interpret your code.
we are the body that gets to interpret what the code means.
correct. You could interpret the code, and it's this one section in particular, as I understand it, this one criterion, that is the stumbling block. So the board could interpret that criterion in this case.
Before we have our next hearing on this, if you could do some research, or somebody could do some research on that and tell us definitively if that's the case. Is the code actually more restrictive, and what's the context in which we would be making that interpretation?
Because I think I heard your question, Commissioner. What would be the appeals outside this? If we interpreted the code, we figured out how to make this happen. Is there a LUBA appeal or whatever that people have the right if somebody else wanted to appeal our decision?
Or if we want to change the code, would we run into trouble?
Right.
Because they would say, well, we understand you county commissioners want to allow this, but the state says no. So
Right.
I'd like to know that information.
Sure.
Good. So we have a motion to accept appeal, and we have a second to accept appeal and schedule a public hearing for July 28th, which is in 2 weeks. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, good. I want to thank staff for this.
Yeah,
Obviously-
sorry to put you on the spot.
No, it's great. No, this is really good.
Room to grow.
This is good stuff, because we really want to help people, if we can, if there's a way
I have
to.
a question about this,
Yeah.
maybe legal counsel needs to answer it. So, because it's a land use situation, and I'm interested in looking at it, the
Right,
space.
right.
Do we all need to go, so we have equal information, or not?
You have accepted the appeal.
You shouldn't go.
You
can't go.
Well,
Right.
Well, I should have went yesterday.
Even then,
Even then, you'd have to declare.
Well, but I was
you'd have
told
to declare-
recently that if we all had the same information, at the same time, then it was an opportunity to look at it.
It's more a function of obtaining information outside of the confines of the hearing. So it's a function of not only the board having all three members of the board having the same information, but also the members of the public who can participate in the hearing itself being aware of what is in front of the board and having the ability to refute that potentially.
So you're acting as a judge, so if someone were really opposed to their position on this, and you went to the farm and you were looking at it and you were talking to them, then like in a case at the courthouse, if you did that with one of the parties, that would be unfair to the opposition party. So because potentially anybody could be an opposition party to a land use decision, we're basically not
Okay.
allowed to go
I
do
got
that.
that information.
You can look at the
Thank you.
file, you can talk to staff.
Yep, did that. Lovely. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Okay, we did pass it, we did vote on it, so, all right. Thank you, Lindsay. And we didn't even call Joe up here without a tie on today. He's shaking his fist. Joe, thank you. All right, our next action item and last of the day is to consider approval of contract for services for outdoor fence company in the amount of $205,968 to install temporary gates and card readers on North Fork Road, Gates Hill Road, and Pioneer Road through December 31st, 2021. Lonnie, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. For the record, Lonnie Radke, Public Works County Engineer. Thank you. Good morning. Today we're here to talk about a contract for outdoor fence for temporary gates in the North Fork Recreational area, and I just want to step back and give a little bit of a background. Following the Beachy Creek and Lions Head wildfires, we knew there was going to be a need for corridor management in this area because it's obviously a very popular recreational area. So popular that even pre-fire, we had busy weekends that showed our parking facilities at the parks were nowhere near enough, and we had a lot of overflow parking on North Fork Road itself. So the parks were closed. Marion County Parks, BLM, everything up that corridor was closed for public use due to safety concerns, unstable soils. We have facilities that have been damaged, and obviously unstable soils that could be there with falling trees. So parks were closed, and as such, parking lots were also closed, and there was concern about the excess traffic and parking that would be happening on North Fork Road itself, as folks were still trying to get to the water. So and there was also a need to, as the commissioners have expressed, to help the property owners rebuild and heal, as they've obviously faced traumatic events with the wildfires and lost a lot of their homes and structures. And so there will be a lot of contractor activity up in the area, large construction vehicles, and a lot of trees coming down. So there are large vehicles coming with a lot of on-street parking. It just wasn't a safe situation. So we have discussed, and the board, you have passed temporary restrictions in the form of a board order where restrictions were made to no unauthorized access, no pedestrians and bicyclists, no parking along the North Fork corridor, and no river access from the public right-of-way. And the plan of attack was to install, we have an extensive signing plan that will allow the sheriff's office to enforce these, the board order outlines the restrictions. And we also have discussed installing temporary gates, 3 of which, one will be installed at North Fork Road, one at Gates Hill Road, and one at Pioneer Road. And today, we are talking about the contract specifically for the gates. We've been working, we've developed our plans. We've been working with the public and other public agencies, including the City of Gates, BLM, ODF, Fire, and we are working with emergency services to ensure that they have access. We've been working with the electrical contractor that we have on contract now, and the utility companies as well, to ensure that we have power and lighting so that these gates are visible at night. So today, we're working through the emergency procurement process so we can get the gates installed as quickly as possible. We've had some challenges hoping that this would happen sooner, but contractors are just incredibly busy right now, and I know we're all hearing that. It is an emergency procurement, and it has some slightly different rules, but we really did attempt as hard as we could to get 3 quotes, and we ended up with a couple, and now we're here with Outdoor Fence for a contract for $205,968, and we'd like to ask for approval.
Comments?
I'm
Questions?
glad that we're doing this today. It's been we've been anticipating it. I know the residents have been anticipating it. I know that we took some feedback via email recently on the cost of these gates from a couple of folks, whether or not they live up in this community or not, I'm unsure. But although it is an expense, I think what I appreciate about this expense is that it's helpful. Not only is it for safety, there's a fair amount of theft that's been going on up there for people who are trying to rebuild, and I believe that this will be a support mechanism to law enforcement who cannot be everywhere all the time, and I just think it's necessary. So thanks for doing all the work on it to get it here.
Thank you. I really want to give credit to Don Alexander, one of our engineers who's been spending a lot of time on this, and it has been really difficult with the contractors as busy as they are. So we're moving as fast as we can, and it is such a priority for us, but it's been really tough.
Yeah.
Everybody's so busy.
When do you anticipate they'll start working on it?
So we've been waiting for this moment. We are hopeful that everything will be done by the end of August, but really they'll be going out there to meet because it is an emergency procurement. It allowed us to move a little bit faster. We left a little room so that we could figure out some of the details, the finer details that we would normally have figured out before we go to bid. It's a little bit of a different process. So we've been talking about all the different options for access, and I'm sure you have questions about that. And we'll be working through those details. So they have already been working, the utility companies have been working on installing the poles and the lighting and supplying the power drops for us. So we're working already. It's just really getting the gates and the access terminal part of the contract.
Great. I'm good.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the contract for services with Outdoor Fence Company in the amount of $205,968 to install temporary gates and card readers on North Fork Road, Gates Hill Road, and Pioneer Road through December 31st, 2021.
And then I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'll just mention, yesterday I did a little ride-along with Sergeant Wilkinson. We talked a little bit about this issue, and people are still going around the barriers. I think it's a $440 ticket.
Maximum fines, though, are up to $2,000.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So-
But one offense, I think, yeah.
Right. And I think you said it, that people just need to heal. We need to, well, it's also for the people that are going around these barriers, their safety.
Very much.
And the comment about that corridor, it's an entrance into a wilderness area of the U.S. Forest Service that is closed. So we just need to do everything we can to protect people and the environment up there as it recovers. So I just want to make sure that people know, and I responded to a couple of those, that this is an important healing process, and that's an important area for all of us to get back to normal as soon as possible, and this is one of those steps. So thank you for your work on this. We have a motion to second. Any further discussion?
Do we have a motion on this?
Yeah, I made
Yeah.
a motion.
Oh, okay,
You seconded it.
You seconded it, yeah.
Okay.
Just check with Brenda, you got that, right? Motion and second?
Right.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 If I could add a little bit more about the safety, we already had concerns for safety out there with folks parking on the side of North Fork Road, which is today, it's a 55-mile-per-hour facility that people can be flying on by. Families park on the side of the road, they get their kids and their dogs out on the side of that road. They don't know these days the stability of the bank that they're sitting on. And there are so many log trucks and contractor vehicles flying through there, and it is definitely a valid safety concern that we have. And I just wanted people to understand that there is a lot to worry about taking their families up there. I know it's hard, people want to get to the water, but it is a big concern. And then I did want to talk about the cost, if that's okay? You had a mention about, okay, I'm sorry. There are some components of this that are eligible for FEMA reimbursement. So we will be doing as much of that as possible. The gates themselves may not be, because they're not because of the emergency procurement, but any of the electrical work and the utility company work, all the signs, that is all reimbursable by FEMA. So we are doing as much as we can to get reimbursed.
And if it's not reimbursed, it's a road fund.
Correct.
Which we have extra road funds up there. We get grants all the time because it is an access to a federal, in fact, it's the nicest, before the fire, I always said the nicest road in Marion County is the Little North Fork Road. We're constantly improving that road because we get flat grant money.
Like
We
a
had
big
just
section of the
done,
gravel area?
we had just done a chip seal in July.
Right,
Woof.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was tough.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
we're done, thanks.
Thank you.
Always good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, that completes our business for the day.
Mr. Chair, I don't think I've read the calendar for a while.
Oh, well,
You want me to
take
do
it on.
All right. Today is July 14th. It's Wednesday, and we just completed our board session here in the Center Hearing Room. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, we have a Board of Commissioners Chief Administrative Officer meeting with an executive session if needed pursuant to ORS 192.6602 A, B, D, E, F, H, I, located in the Commissioners Boardroom, the 5th floor of this building. On Wednesday, July 14th at 4 in the afternoon, we had a FEMA briefing for local officials located in the Commissioners Boardroom. That's in the 5th floor of this building, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. Tomorrow, Thursday, July 15th at 8 in the morning, we have a Salem-Marion County meeting located at the Sassy Onion. It's 1244 State Street in Salem. Tomorrow, Thursday, July 15th at 9:30, we have a work session to discuss the Santiam Fire Volunteer Recognition Event located in the Commissioner's Boardroom on the 5th floor of this building. Tomorrow, July 15th, that's Thursday at 3 in the afternoon, we have Salem Airport Tour located at the Salem Air Center, 3300 25th Street Southeast in Salem. On Monday, July 19th at 10:30 in the morning, we have a tour of Staten and Mill City proposed home first sites located in Staten and Mill City. On Monday, July 19th at 2 in the afternoon, we have a Board of Commissioners Chief Administrative Officer meeting with an executive session if needed pursuant to ORS 192.6602 A, B, D, E, F, H, I, located in the Commissioner's Boardroom, the 5th floor of this building. Then on Tuesday, July 20th at 9 in the morning, we have a Commissioner's interview for Wildfire After Action Report located in the Commissioner's Boardroom, 5th floor of this building. And then on Tuesday, July 20th at 6 in the evening, we have a CDBG public input meeting located in the Center Hearing Room, the 1st floor of this building, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. That is this room. And then on Wednesday, July 21st at 9 in the morning, we have board session again located in this room, the Center Hearing Room. Again, that's the 1st floor of 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem.
Right, so you've called,
Yep, I'm working on that.
let me know if
Yeah.
there's something. Yeah.
So one of the things that I noticed isn't on this calendar, because it's not on ours yet, but hopefully it will be today, is I think it's tomorrow night up the Santiam Canyon is the debrief for local community individuals. Isn't that right? We asked for it to be added to the calendar and it hasn't yet. And I saw Jolene made a post on Facebook about it and I was trying to find it. And I wanted to state it today because I think it's important for people to know that they should definitely be going if they're available. So
Tomorrow night?
it's next week. My apologies. It's on Thursday next week. Oh, no, Tuesday next week. Commissioners, so on Tuesday, July 20th at 6 p.m.
Oh,
No, that's the CDBG Consolidated Plan 1. Wildfire action, so it's Thursday. So next Wednesday it'll be read. I thought it was tomorrow and I was worried that I was gonna miss it. But Thursday, July 22nd at 6:30 is the 2020 Wildfire Response After Action Review at the Santiam High School Gym. And so it'd be great for people to get that on their calendars in advance. If you were a victim of the fire up the Santiam Canyon for Lion's Head or Beachy Creek, to go to that. And I'm pulling this information off of a Facebook post on the Marion County, Oregon Facebook page. But hopefully Jolene will be sending an email out to residents of the canyon to directly invite them to attend that. Sorry for the confusion.
No, that's good, because that was a promise we made 8 months ago when we were up there, that we would have an opportunity for folks in our community to give input about what went right and what went wrong
good. Okay.
during the evacuation. So that is, say it again, next Tuesday?
It's, no, next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
July 22nd at 6:30 at the Santiam High School.
High school gym, yeah.
In Mill City.
Yep, that's the
Mill
one,
City.
that's where it was before.
Yeah. So
Perfect.
maybe we could get Scott to work with the communications contractor that they've hired to get something out right away, to get people there. I do think this is an important opportunity for citizens to give their feedback on their experience.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Good
Yeah.
catch. Good catch.
I'm so glad it's not tomorrow, because I have so many things going on tomorrow. I didn't know how I was gonna make it. I was a little worried.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Oh, wow, time is flying. Sad weekend, boats are out this weekend. Bummer.
But there, you can still access the lake, you just
Oh,
can't
yeah.
dock at the marinas. So
Exactly.
the Mongold and State Park docks are still available for launching your boat. I'm taking my boat out of the water because I have to take it away from my moorage space, but I'll be day dropping for a bit.
Day dropping. There's a song. Oh, no, that's day something else. All right.
Day drinking?
Yes,
I know where you're going with this.
day dropping, yeah. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we will adjourn.